Have you ever had one of those days, or maybe one of those weeks where you just feel off? You're totally overwhelmed, you're exhausted, and you tell your friend, I am so stressed out. But is that really what it is? You know, the words we use, stress, burnout, depression, they get all jumbled together. So today we're going to untangle them. Because knowing the difference isn't just about finding the right word, it's the very first step to actually feeling better.
So let's just ask it, straight up. How are you feeling right now? It can be surprisingly tough to find the right label, can't it? You just know you don't feel like yourself, but the symptoms all seem to overlap, creating this confusing fog. And trying to pinpoint what's really going on is often the biggest hurdle.
And that's the whole point, right? On the surface, that feeling of being completely swamped and just plain tired, it's real, and it's common to all three of these things. But what's happening underneath it all, and more importantly, how you get out of it, well, that's completely different for each one. So let's start breaking them down.
Okay, first up, stress. Think of stress as your body's alarm system. It's that tension you feel before a huge presentation, or that frantic energy when you're rushing to hit a deadline. The key thing here, and it's a really hopeful thing, is that you can usually recover. The pressure is coming from the outside, and once that thing is gone, you can finally take a breath and bounce back. This is the crucial question. This is what takes us from one state to the next. What happens when that deadline isn't just a one-time thing, but it's every single day? What happens when the source of that pressure just becomes a constant in your life? Well, that's when stress starts to change into something else entirely.
And that something else is burnout. Now, this isn't just being tired. This is a deep, profound exhaustion. We're talking emotional, physical, and mental. And it's all caused by that stress that just never, ever lets up. The words say it all, right? Drained, detached, empty. It feels like you have completely run out of fuel. And it's often tied to a specific part of your life, like your job, where you just feel like you have absolutely nothing left to give. And then there's depression. This is a fundamental shift. While stress and burnout are often connected to your circumstances, depression is more like a cloud that can cover everything. It goes so much deeper than just exhaustion. It affects your core, your mood, how you sleep, your motivation, even your sense of self-worth. The real difference? With depression, that feeling can stick around even after the pressure is gone. A vacation doesn't fix it.
Okay, we've laid out the definitions, but let's get right to the heart of it. How can you really tell them apart when you're in the thick of it? If you had to boil down the feeling of each one into just a single sentence, what would that sentence be?
This right here, this distills it perfectly. Stress is basically saying, I'm overloaded. It's a feeling of having way too much on your plate. Burnout says, I'm exhausted. It's a feeling of having absolutely nothing left. And depression says, I'm hopeless. It's that feeling that nothing matters and it's never going to get any better. Overloaded, exhausted, hopeless. Three totally different worlds.
And this is exactly why knowing the difference is so critical. It really is the most important first step. Because you can't solve an exhaustion problem with the same tools you'd use for an overloaded problem, you know? Better time management might help a little with stress, but it's not going to cure burnout. And a week off from work, as nice as that sounds, won't even touch that feeling of hopelessness. Each one needs its own path forward. Which brings us to the most important question of all. Once you start to understand whether you're feeling overloaded or exhausted or hopeless, you can finally start asking for the right kind of help. So what support is right for you? Just having that clarity, that's what gives you the power to finally find the answer.